Listen to this. If you want to keep your marriage or your relationship to the end, this involves my own experience. This is a story of my life. Today, I decided to be vulnerable and try to make people understand that this life we live is quite spiritual. And if you don't get this early enough, then you are going to end up broken. You are going to end up confused. And just because there is a missing link, and that missing link is God. Now, many of you know that I was in a relationship that lasted like 3 years. I got a baby as a result of that relationship, and then we settled down together. There was no formality in any case, and I left after 3 years because it was an abusive relationship. This man was narcissistic, and I couldn't taking the pain that I was going through, and by God's grace, I managed to pull out. I say this because I know many are in such situations even right now as I speak, and they're not able to find the strength to pull out or pick up themselves. But I want to let you know that the damage that is being caused in you is so huge that it may take forever to come out of it or just to bounce back. It has taken me 12 years to bounce back. It has taken me 12 years to heal. Yeah. A mistake I did at 24 years, right now I'm 36 years, and I'm still facing the consequences. Still, yeah, it's been a tough one, but here I am talking about it because God had to make sure I went through that so that I can speak it out. Remember, not everyone goes through issues or situations in life and they're able to talk about them. But God has given me that confidence, and He has given me that mandate to keep speaking, to keep making people realize and know what they don't know, and find their strength and their confidence in God and not people. And that's where the problem comes in. When you put your trust in a person, then you will never find the strength to pull out or come out or just realize that you are meant for better. You are meant for nothing but goodness. And this is a story that happened. This is something that happened. And I want to let you know that at that time, I wasn't spiritually awake like I am right now. And so most of the things that happened were beyond me. Had I been spiritual enough, I would have picked so many things and addressed them in prayer. But then that was not the case. I was spiritually dull and things happened. So I remember just before things got worse. Yeah, I was in that relationship. I had realized I was in some kind of a pickle, but you keep on waiting and you keep on looking at situation, waiting, seeing, wanting to see something else better than what you are being served, but it's never ever coming forth. And so one time we went for a burial at their original home place. The grandfather had passed on, and that time when we went there, I remember one morning, like the way the burial has ended, and then the following morning you guys have woken up, you're just seated around there. You know how the rural setting is like. You're just seated outside the house waiting for tea to be served while you are just talking and just relaxing and sunbasking. So I remember there was this auntie of his who just came out of the blues. Remember, I had never met her. It was the first time I had met her during that burial. I didn't know her. I used to hear about her, and I used to hear about who she is and how she behaves and all that. So I remember that morning we were just seated, and then all of a sudden she came and she started addressing me, and in the process also addressing my ex. And she was just asking him, huyu Kikuyu ulitoa wapi? Like, this Kikuyu woman, where did you get her from? Remember, I'm not a Kikuyu. And I was confused. I didn't know what was happening. But then she kept on talking ill about me and saying that I'm misguiding, misleading him. So many things. I mean, so many things were being said, and these were words coming from someone that I've never interacted with. And at some point, she ended up saying that she's going to make sure that we break up, that we are not going to stay together. Well, that was the end of the rant, and after all that, I remember we left, and on the way back to Nairobi, I asked him, why is it that you didn't come out to defend me in the process? Because he was just quiet while the auntie was on my case, and I didn't understand why that was happening. But then later on, that's when I realized what came out of her mouth is what she meant. Because when we came back to Nairobi, the guy just became worse. He just became more abusive. He just wouldn't stay in the house. The guy would leave the house on Thursday, come back on Monday. And all this while, I'm not supposed to call him. I'm not supposed to ask where his whereabouts are. And I remember that was a very painful time in my life. But now that I have knowledge, now that I understand what was going on, I know that for a fact, if I had gone back and prayed about it and cancelled all the words that she had said against us, then probably would have survived. But I don't know. I don't know whether that was God's will for me to stay there. But I believe that was not God's will, because I'm out here right now enlightening people about all these things. And what happened is that whatever she said came to pass. For sure, we separated. I couldn't stay with him any longer. And for the sake of my peace, for the sake of sanity, I left. And most of you have seen the pictures that I've shared of that time when I left, how I looked. I was miserable. I tell you, you stay with a narcissistic person, he or she will drain you all the energy. It's like they suck you all the energy. And that's why I'm convinced that at this point that narcissistic people are very satanic, because only the Satan can work in such a manner that they will derail all the life out of you and suck it out of you without a care. And what I want to emphasize is that if you are married or you are planning to get into a relationship, please be wary of anything that is said against you. Anything that is said against you, if you are not careful, it will come to pass. So be keen, be careful, be prayerful, be on the watch out. Because life and death is in the power of the tongue. And if you are not able to cancel these words coming from your enemies, coming from close relatives, coming from your mother-in-law, your sister-in-law, it's going to come to pass. The devil is not joking. The devil is not playing with families. He wants everyone not to, he's constantly fighting the original plan of God, of go thee and multiply, So be wary, be careful, because whatever is said and you are not careful to just pray it up, it will happen. I don't regret any of these things. I'm just sharing to let you know out there, because at one time in my life, I never knew all these things. But now that I know, I'm not going to keep up, because I'm not going to keep quiet. This is my mandate. This is what God has called me for. So, guys, I love you so much. Be watchful and be careful. Bye-bye.